Hey guys, it's Studios here, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys the Know Before You Go guide for Six Flags Great Adventures Fright Fest Extreme event happening this fall in 2024. It begins on Friday, September 13th, running all the way until November 3rd. Do keep in mind that the first weekend is going to be a preview weekend. I have a separate video out with more details on that, but we're going to be talking about the event as a whole. Keep in mind this is being filmed before the event actually begins, so if you want to see what the event is actually like being in the park, reviews of the mazes, all that, stay tuned for the vlogs that will be coming soon once Fright Fest really gets going. But there's a lot of questions about this year's Fright Fest because it is very different than years past. It of course has a new name, Fright Fest Extreme. There's a whole bunch of new mazes, a whole bunch of new ticketing things, the chaperone policy. So we're going to go over all of that in this video by going through the website and adding some of my own knowledge as well. So we're going to scroll here to the admission packages, which I know has been a big question for a lot of people. So there are three ways you get access to Fright Fest Extreme if you don't have a season pass. That is with any of these three. You can buy a Fright Fest Extreme ticket, which starts at $65. This will only give you access to Fright Fest Extreme. You will not be able to enter the park prior to 6 o'clock p.m., which is when daytime admission is occurring. We'll get into that more a little bit. There's also the all-inclusive Fright Fest experience, which has daytime admission with Fright Fest included, and that is basically the same as the prior, just that you get to go into the park early. Keep in mind this only really matters on days where the park is open in the morning, like Saturdays and Sundays. Typically they won't be open like that on Fridays. And then there's RIP tours, and this gives you a VIP tour experience where you have access to lounges, you have access to the mazes, all sorts of things like that, but you do need to have an admission ticket in order to purchase this. And then we're going to keep scrolling down. Eventually we will get to the pass holder benefits, because if depending on which type of pass you will have completely different level of access to Fright Fest Extreme. So we have all of the haunted houses. I'm going to go over these in a little more detail once we get to the map, but there are the 6 IPs, which include Stranger Things, Conjuring, Saw, Army of the Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Trick or Treat, plus the other 3, which are Asylum, Big Top Terror, and The Witch's Reflection. Again, we'll get into more details on those when we get to the map. Same thing with the scare zones. We have the Bloody Fountain, Curse of Blackbeard's County, Carnival, Demon District, and Exile Canyon. We'll show more details once we get to the map. Then we have 4 shows, all of which are returning shows. We have Dead Man's Party, which takes place right next to Wonder Woman in that Batman stunt arena. Then we have Unleashed, which is kind of on the other side of Wonder Woman, across from Justice League, next to Cyborg, inside the Showcase Theater. That's like a Circus Soleil style show. We have Blade Drummers, which takes place right next to the Fender Benders in that big open area. It's a really, really cool show. They just keep making better and better each year. And then we have the Freak Show, which is going to be right in front of Twister, kind of by Slingshot, where Army of the Dead is, and the entrance to the Golden Kingdom, which is also a really nice show. Now we're going to continue down to the Parent's Guide to Fright Fest Extreme. So this is really going to be to go over that chaperone policy. So for one, you guys might have heard me mention this in a prior video, there's a new pickup/drop-off area. Previously, you would go all the way in, pretty much right up to the tolls, and then make a right by Hurricane Harbor's entrance. That is different now. There used to be a gas station right at the front of the park's property, close to 537. That gas station has been demoed, and that will be the new guest drop-off/pickup area. So it is a hike to get from there to the park entrance, but that's because they don't really anticipate much dropping off or picking up, considering there is the new chaperone policy. So you're going to want to hang in that right lane when you first get to the park, and it'll come up pretty quick once you go over that bridge. So just keep that in mind. Costumes, of course, as usual, are not allowed for those who are over the age of 12. And now the big thing, the chaperone policy. So Fright Fest Extreme is not really expected to be for guests under the age of 13. All guests that are 15 years old or younger must be accompanied by a chaperone who is over the age of 21 with a valid government-issued photo ID to be admitted to or remain in the park after 4 o'clock on Fright Fest Extreme nights. One chaperone can only accompany up to 10 guests that are age 15-year-old or younger per day. And if you're 16 years of age or older, you might be asked to present identification, whether that be a driver's license, a passport, state-issued ID. So I'm assuming that that could include a school ID for those of you who might be in high school and don't have a driver's license yet. As long as it shows your age, I think you're good. So just keep that in mind. They're going to be adhering to this pretty strictly this year. This is new for Great Adventure, and I think it's definitely needed, because previously you'd have a lot of young kids who were unsupervised. They'd run around and act like they wouldn't normally act and just cause trouble for everyone trying to have a good time. So I think this is a good move overall. And again, parents will need to purchase admission if you are going as a chaperone. You don't just get in for free, keep that in mind. Now we are down here at the big stuff, the pass holder and informational guide. I've gotten a lot of questions about this, and there's a lot of questions about the event in general. I'm going to go through those in a little bit, but first I want to go to this right here. This is extremely important for those of you who have been asking me about which pass gives you this, which membership gives you this. This makes it very clear. So the Gold Pass and Gold membership for 2025, this will only give you access to Fright Fest Extreme on certain nights. You have to go into your pass holder portal if you have one of those and see what nights those are. I believe they just have like weekends in October or September, like Saturdays in particular. Some of those are prohibited for that pass just to lower crowds. Prestige, Season Pass, and membership for 2025, along with the Legacy Diamond, Diamond Elite, and Diamond Elite VIP membership all get Fright Fest Extreme Maze access. What that means is that you're going to get that wristband, which gives you access to all the mazes, and this is new for the Legacy Diamond membership. Previously, you would only get one maze per year, but to simplify things, they just changed it and made it have the same benefit as the other 4, which I think was a good move. So it hasn't been made clear where exactly you'll get this. I don't know if you'll have to go to guest relations or if you'll have different stands throughout the park, but you'll get the wristband and you'll be able to go through as many mazes as you want throughout the night, which is great. And this is every time you go to Fright Fest Extreme this year, so it's not valid just one visit or anything like that. You get maze access on every visit, which is great. Now, as for the 2024 Gold, Platinum, and Diamond, as well as the Legacy Six Flags Plus, Gold, Gold Plus, and Platinum memberships, you do get access to the park during Fright Fest Extreme, but you will not get free mazes. You will have to pay an upcharge for that. And I know a lot of people have been asking me if there's a season pass holder option for the maze pass where you'd be able to use it on every visit. And they make it very clear right around here somewhere, if I can find it again. Right here. No, you do not get that, so just keep that in mind. I believe it's $40 per visit, so if you are one of the lower level pass holders and you do want to go through the mazes every time, you're going to have to pay $40 each time. But all these questions here, I'd encourage you to go through them on your own if you have any of these questions that particularly pertain to you. One thing I do want to show off, there are no boo or no scare bracelets, necklaces, none of that will be offered this year, which I think is a good thing because it's going to allow the scare actors to not have to worry about who they're scaring. If they have a necklace on or anything, they'll be able to just scare and do their job and do it great because they always do a great job at Fright Fest. So that is really exciting. Other than that, though, none of these really jump out to me. Obviously, we just went over how the Fright Fest wristband goes for all the pass holders and members. So another thing, children's areas will probably not be opening. Yeah, Bugs Bunny National Park, they will close at 5 o'clock. And they don't say anything about Junior Thrill Seekers. I would assume that probably won't be open either. You'll probably be able to walk through, but I don't think it'll be open in terms of rides. Going back over here, we're going to skip the calendar because I encourage you guys to look at that on your own. I do believe they're open till like 1 a.m. on a lot of the Saturdays in October, which is going to be really exciting. We're going to go straight over to the park map here, which is always my favorite part of this. So obviously there's not really anything too different about this map compared to like the 2024 base map. They do still have Flash on here, which I find pretty interesting, but other than that, we're going to show you guys where all the mazes are. So like I said, there are 9, which means we're going to go start on the right side of the park and make our way over to the left. So you have Saw and Asylum, which are in the catering area back behind Flash. So I presume you're going to access those right next to Cyborg and walk back here. Saw and Asylum over there. Then over here, right next to Justice League or the Retro Bar, which I believe is not going to be the Retro Bar anymore. It doesn't show that it's an RIP lounge on the map, but I do believe that is what it's going to be. It's right here, Stranger Things. I think that's going to be a really popular one. Then making our way over here, we have the Witch's Reflection, which is going where Reflections of the Dead usually was. Then across over here, we have Big Top Terror, which of course is a returning maze. We have Army of the Dead back here next to Slingshot in the old Right Stuff building. Then next to Superman and Green Lantern, we have Conjuring. Over here, we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is going to be on that wild walkway path in between the Golden Kingdom and like the center area by Plaza del Carnaval and Frontier Adventures. And then Trick or Treat is going to be right next to El Toro in Plaza del Carnaval. Then we have the scare zones themselves, and they're marked with these purple areas. You have Carnival, which is right next to Big Top Terror. Exile Canyon, which is going to be next to Log Flume, Mine Train, all of that. Curse of Blackbeard's County, which is going to be next to Swashbuckler and Buccaneer, very fitting. We have the Bloody Fountain, which of course surrounds the fountain. And new this year, we have Demon District, which encompasses all of the Pine Barrens by Jersey Devil. So really exciting lineup of scary things in the park In addition to that, we have the RIP Lounge, which is right next to Skull Mountain at Chop 6, which is now the Special Events Center, and now, of course, that is what that is. So I'm actually noticing now, too, there's the RIP Bar on the Notion right there, and you can see that right here next to Stranger Things where the retro bar was, as well as over here at Best of the West. So those will both be RIP bars this year. And then just a few other things to note on this map here. You can see all these little shopping bags with a skull on them. Those are all locations that you can get your wristbands and your purchase tickets for Fright Fest Extreme. So like I said earlier, you're going to be able to get your pass holder exclusive wristbands at any of these locations, and there's quite a few of them actually. And I'm not really going to talk too much about the Oktoberfest stuff because it's more of a Fright Fest video, but you can see down here all the shows are labeled with a number, so in case you don't know where they are by my descriptions. There's the Unleashed right here, Dead Man's Party right here, you have Blade Drummers right there, and then the other one, the Freak Show, over here, although I did see the stage further up, so maybe they're moving it, I'm not 100% sure. But this is the map, and another very important thing before I forget, park re-entry is not permitted during Fright Fest Extreme, which means after 5, 6 o'clock when the park switches over to Fright Fest Extreme, you cannot leave the park and then come back in. You need to stay in no matter what. So that's definitely a very important thing to keep note of. And another important thing for everyone visiting is going to be how to manage all the crowds that are probably going to be here. There are way more mazes than usual, and a lot of them have a major brand or IP tied to them. So if I had to give my best guess as of right now as to which ones you're going to want to hit early, Stranger Things probably tops the list. I think we all know that Stranger Things is probably the most popular franchise out of all of these. It's absolutely massive. I'm sure everyone, kids, adults, everyone who likes Stranger Things is going to flock to that. Just keep in mind that it's not fully indoor, so you are going to want to have that be one that you wait till it's a little darker out to experience. That way you get the full experience. Not all of these are fully indoor. The only ones that are fully indoor are Army of the Dead, Trick or Treat, Big Top Terror, which is Reflection, and I think that's it, because Saw, Asylum, they're in the catering pavilion, so they're not like fully outside, but they're not fully indoor either. Oh, and Conjuring, of course, is indoor. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Stranger Things, they have the same kind of building setup where they're kind of pavilions, similar to how the catering is, so just keep that in mind. But in terms of picking like the best route to go through, I'm thinking you might want to come over here, hit Stranger Things, Saw, and Asylum. Witch's Reflection will probably get a pretty long line since it's right on the main path. Big Top can tend to get a pretty long line, especially now that Dream Street is going to be open. It's going to be much more accessible. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Trick or Treat, and Conjuring are definitely more tucked away, but Conjuring being next to Superman, probably going to get a pretty long line. Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Trick or Treat are very close to El Toro and King Ka, two very popular attractions, so my best word of advice to you guys is just hit them as fast as you possibly can. Keep in mind which ones are fully indoor versus not fully indoor so you can get the best scares. This is going to be a really exciting time for Fright Fest, and if you can, try to go multiple times because you might not be able to experience everything in one visit. There's just so much to do, and it's probably going to be really crowded, so just keep that in mind. But I, along with hopefully all of you, are extremely excited for Fright Fest Extreme this year at Six Flags Great Adventure. Hopefully this guide helped you. Like I said, there will be more in-depth kind of vlogs coming from when Fright Fest actually begins, so stay tuned for those. But if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, guys.